Hey kids, it's Mrs. Compton, and we're going to do your 4th grade Chapter 9 review. So here we go. Number 1, select a number shown by the model, mark all that apply. All right, so first thing I like to do is actually take a peek at the model. So I can see that we've got one hole filled in, and it's broken into tenths, right? So this would be 10 tenths. And then over here we have 1 tenth, 2 tenths, 3 tenths, 4 tenths shaded. So I know before I even look at my answer choices, I have 1 and 4 tenths shaded. And I also know that this 1 is equal to 10 tenths. So I just kind of think about the things that I already know to start prepping my brain to look at the answer choices, because it's when it says mark all that apply, we're going to have more than one, right? So as I'm looking at this, the first thing I see is 14 tenths. Well, when I look at this, 10 tenths plus 4 tenths does in fact equal 14 tenths. So that would be a yes. And then 40 tenths. Well, if we know 14 tenths is a true one, like that can't be true because there aren't 40 tenths shaded, so that one's out. And then over here, when I'm reading this one, I would say 1 and 4 tenths, which is the same as 1 and 4 tenths, right? These are 4 tenths. That would go in the tenths column, so I'm going to circle that one. That one's in, and I already know this one's going to be in because it says 1 and 4 tenths, and I had my 1 and 4 tenths. 14, definitely not in, and definitely not 4 and 1 tenth because we only have one hole. This says 4 holes. All right, so we have 3 answers: 14 tenths, 1 and 4 tenths, and 1 and 4 tenths in fraction form. Number 2, Rick has $1.27 to buy a notebook. Which names this amount? Mark all that apply. All right, so you probably already can visualize $1.27, right? So we can visualize that in money. So then when you go to C, like my eyes just went, okay, I could see that right there. It's going to be a yes for C. All right, now this one says 12 and 7 tenths. Well, do we have $12? The answer to that is no, we don't. And this one says, it looks like it says 1 and 27 thousandths. I don't think that's a comma, I think it's a decimal. So that one's out because this, when we have 27 cents, we're going to have 2 places behind the decimal, just like this. All right, D says 1 and 27 hundredths. Well, that's equal to that. I'm just missing the dollar sign, so I'm going to go ahead and mark it. And then E says 1 and 27 hundredths, so $1 and then 27 cents out of 100. So that sounds right to me. What do you guys think? Should I mark that one? Yep. All right, and then F is 127 tenths. So should we mark 127 tenths? What does that equal? Well, I don't think we can mark 127 tenths. Let's look. Let's see. We could use this picture to help us, right? So this would be 127, but they're not broken into tenths, right? So this would be $1.27, but they're not broken into tenths. They are broken into hundredths. So if it would have said 100 for the denominator, it would have been true. But since it doesn't, it's false. All right, number 3. We've got some true or falses coming my way, coming your way. So for numbers 3A through 3E, select true or false for the statement. All right. 9 tenths is equivalent to 90 hundredths. Okay. I like to think in money, as you probably already know. So 9 dimes is equivalent to 90 pennies. That, my friends, is true. It's just a matter of how they're broken up, right? So let's put true there. Okay. 20 hundredths is equivalent to 2 hundredths. Well, when I said this number, I can hear that it's not. 20 hundredths. 2 hundredths. False. That's why we have to say these numbers correctly, not 0.20. We can't say that. We have to learn how to say these correctly so that we can find our matches, right? It really helps. Okay, 3C. 80 hundredths is equivalent to 8 tenths. Well, this is like 80 pennies. This is like 8 dimes. I know they have the same value. That's a true. 6 tenths is equivalent to 60 hundredths. All right, so 6 dimes, 60 pennies. That would be true. All right, 3 tenths is equivalent to 3 hundredths. Again, because I know how to say this decimal correctly, 3 tenths, I can hear myself saying 3 hundredths and it's not the same. So that's a false. All right. Did we need this to help us? If we did, we could have used it. You can always fill in like 80 100ths, 8 tenths, 6 tenths, 60 hundredths, right? Let's try out the last one, 3 tenths, because we said that one was not. Let's see. So there's 1 tenth, 2 tenths, 3 tenths. Okay, so that's this one. Now let's do over here 3 hundredths. 1 hundredth, 2 hundredths, 3 hundredths. Are they anywhere near the same amount? The answer to that is no. So you can actually see. So always make sure you use a picture if you're not sure. All right, number 4. After selling some old books and toys, Gwen and her brother Max had 5 $1 bills, 6 quarters, and 8 dimes. They agreed to divide the money equally. All right, so we know for sure that there are 2 people sharing this money equally, $5, 6 quarters, and 8 dimes. Part A says, what is the total amount of money that Gwen and Max earned? Explain. Okay. So first we have to figure out how much money they earned. Okay. Well, we know that actually, may as well just find out. 1, 2, 3, 4, $5. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. That makes $6. $6.50. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That makes another dollar. So $5, $6, $7, and then 3 dimes are left, so $7.30. Perfect. Perfecto. I have a feeling we're going to have to find out how much each person gets. $7.30. Make sure it's representing 3 dimes. Remember, that's the tenths column, and these are worth 1/10 of a dollar. So it should say a 7, a decimal, and then a 3 and a 0. Alrighty. Max said that he and Gwen cannot get equal amounts of money because 5 $1 bills cannot be divided evenly. Do you agree with Max? Explain. Okay, let's go back here and grab our moolah. And then put it here. Woo! All right. So we have our money, and Max says that because you can't split this one evenly, they're not going to get the same amount of money. Well, we know that Max is not really correct in his understanding because we can trade this $1 out. So boom, get rid of that and trade it in for 4 quarters. So we just swap it out, and then of course this person can get 2 quarters, this person can get 2 quarters, and now it's a fair share. So do you agree with Max? No, I disagree with Max because a dollar can be traded for 4 quarters. All right. Harrison rode his bike 6/10 of a mile to the park. Shade the model, then write the decimal to show how far Harrison rode his bike. Harrison rode his bike blank miles to the park. All right, so it sounds like we have a pretty straightforward question. We've got Harrison riding his bike 6/10 of a mile, and I'm seeing that this is broken into 10 parts, but I'm going to double check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yep, so it's 10 parts, easy peasy. And then I need to shade 6 of them. So I'm going to just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them, shade it in. And then write the decimal to show how far Harrison rode his bike. Okay, so that's the only thing we have to make sure we write the decimal, not the fraction again. So the decimal is said 6/10, right? So I need to get the 6 into the tenths place. So there's 0 holes, a decimal. Right after the decimal is the tenths place. So I'm just going to put my 6 there. All right, and we are done with that one. Number 6, Amaldo spent 88 hundredths of a dollar on a souvenir pencil from Zion National Park in Utah. What is 88 hundredths written as a decimal in terms of dollars? Okay, well, I love my money in fraction and all that good stuff connection. So we've got 88 hundredths, which is the same as 88 cents. And I'm just going to write it as a decimal. So 0, decimal, 88. So 8 dimes, 8 pennies, right? 88 hundredths. And that is all for number 6. Number 7, Tran has $5.82. He is saving for a video game that costs $8.95. Tran needs blank more to have enough money for the game. All right, so you might want to solve this in a few different ways. For me, I love number lines, so I think I'm going to think in a number line. So let's see, $5.82, 582. Forgot my dollar sign. Whoopsie. Need to put that on. And then over here is, I'll just type it. It's easier. $8.95. Boom. Okay, so even though we have decimals and our numbers are getting a little bit more complex, we can still use number lines to help us in our thinking. Number lines are so important to understand and to use. Okay, so let's try this out. So $5.82, how far would we have to, or how much would we have to add to get to $6? So how much would we need to add to get to $6? So you can actually just think about 82 cents plus what would make the next dollar? Well, 82 cents plus 8 would give me, or 8 cents would give me $5.90. And then I would need 10 more cents to get to $6. So I know I'm going to need 18 cents there. I'm going to put a 0 in front too. So 18 cents would get me to $6. So we had $5.82 and we added 18 cents and now we're at $6. So maybe you know that you could add $2.95 to get all the way down here. So maybe you could just take that one giant hop. $2.85. Oops, I said 85. I meant 95. All right, now $2.95 plus 18 cents is going to give us our answer, right? So it's just like when we were in our younger years and we were doing all these strategies for adding. I don't want you to forget this. So let's try out doing 18 hundredths, otherwise known as 18 cents. Put the dollar sign in, Mrs. Compton. There we go. And then $2.95. $2.95. Okay, so we know that this one is really close to $3, right? So it's only 5 cents away. So basically, we can just steal 5 cents out of here. So 5 cents comes over here. put those together. That makes $3. Right now, how much is left from the 18 cents? We already took 5 cents. The answer to that would be 13. All right. So now I know that this is $3 and this is 13 cents. So my answer must be $3.13. So another way you could have done this is you could have subtracted the and found out what the difference is. There's lots of different ways of solving. I just wanted to make sure we still look at number lines together. Okay, let's go on. Number 8. Oh, we've got Cheyenne. Cheyenne lives 7/10 mile from school. A fraction in hundredths equal to 7/10 is, all right, so if we have 7/10 and we visualize the picture of 7/10 and then we make a 10 by 10 array, we know that it would be then broken into 100 pieces and 70 out of 100 would be shaded. So 70/100ths. Alrighty. Write a decimal in tenths that is less than 2 4200ths but greater than 2. Okay, another number line, y'all. Let's do it. So we need something greater than 2, less than 2 4200ths. So let's just put a number on the number line. So what do you think? What's about halfway between these two numbers? Well, there's only 2200ths difference, right? So from here, did I say 2200ths? I think I meant 4200ths. Oh my goodness. So 4200ths difference, and then half of 4200ths would be 2100ths. So the middle point would be 2 2100ths. So that could work. We could just go ahead and write that. Why not? I think that works. All right, so that would be what I would write in there. You can write any number, though, between 2 and 4200ths. Number 10. Kylie and 2 of her friends are at a museum. They find 2 quarters and 1 dime on the ground. Okay, so we have to figure out part A. If Kylie and her friends share the money equally, how much will each person get? Explain how you found your answer. Okay, so we can think about Kylie and her 2 friends, right? They find 2 quarters, so a quarter is worth 25 cents. And then they find another quarter, which is worth another 25 cents. And then they find a dime, and that's worth 10 cents. Okay, so all together they found 60 cents. 25 cents plus 25 cents is 50 cents, and then plus 10 more cents is 60 cents. So here we go, 60 cents. Now, you probably already know what 60 shared equally between 3 would be, right? Because you probably know you can count by 20s. 20, 40, 60. So each friend would then get 20 cents. You can think about it in a number bond, right? You can take out 20 cents for each person. Boom. Each person gets 20 cents. Why didn't that copy paste? Oh, it wants to do all of it. Bummer. There we go. And one more. And one more. There we go. All right, so each friend gets 20 cents. Explain how you found your answer. Okay, so each friend gets 20 cents. Make sure you get $sign on there. Yay, I did it. I found my answer by dividing the 60 cents by the 3 friends. Perfecto. Next one, number 11. Oh, lied. Part B. Okay, I should have seen that coming because we had a part A, right? Kylie says that each person will receive 2/10 of the money that was found. Do you agree? All right. So they are giving you a trick question here. We just found out that each person's going to get 20 cents, right? So they are hoping to confuse you with this because 2/10 is kind of like 20 cents. But it says, Kylie says that each person will receive 2/10 of the money that was found. Well, here's all of the money that was found. That is 60 cents. So that would be all of the money that was found. Now, each person is going to get 20 cents, right? So 20 cents goes there. Just pretend like all the dollar signs are there. I just don't want to waste your time by drawing them. It takes too long. Okay, so 20 cents in each one, right? So this to me looks like each person is going to get 1/3 of the money, not 2/10. 1/3 of the money. So I'm going to say I disagree with Kylie. Each person gets 1/3. Oops, 1/3 of the money. Alrighty. Number 11, here we are. Shade the model to show 1 and 52 hundredths. Then write the mixed number in decimal form. Okay, so we know that 1 means I have to shade this whole thing. And then this is already broken into hundredths, so they gave us an easy one for us to think about because we don't have to break it at all. We just have to shade 52 of them. Okay, so let's do it. Get my highlighter. All right, so 1 whole is going to get shaded in. I'm just going to go crazy. Go crazy, y'all. I'm not going to spend too much time shading. All right, we're going to pretend like this is perfectly shaded in. All right, now I'm going to do 52 out of 100. So 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 51 hundredths, 52 hundredths. Okay, I've got that done. Now here I'm going to put my decimal 1 and 52 hundredths. All right, so that matches this fraction and this decimal match, 1 and 52 hundredths. Number 12, we've got Henry. Henry's making a recipe for biscuits. A recipe calls for 5/10 kilogram flour and 9 1/100 kilogram sugar. Okay. Part A. All right. If Henry measures correctly and combines the two amounts, how much flour and sugar will he have? Show your work. Okay. So the first thing I noticed when I was reading this is we've got tenths and we've got hundredths. So before we can add them together, we have to get the same denominator, right? So I know 5/10 is the same as 50 hundredths because it would be exactly half of that model shaded in, right? So 50 out of 100, 5 out of 10. All right. So I can use that information to help myself as I'm answering. So 50 100ths plus the 9 100ths, right? So we're going to add all of those dry ingredients together. Plus 9 100ths equals 59 hundredths. Now remember, we don't add the denominators together. We just keep those the same. It's still broken into 100 parts, right? Okay, if Henry measures correctly and combines the two amounts, how much flour and sugar will you have? 59 100ths. Show your work. We did. Boom. Part B. How can you write your answer as a decimal? Okay, did you hear that this is said 59 100ths? So we need to get the 9 into the hundredths place. Okay, so as we are writing, we have 0 holes. And here's the 5. It's going into the tenths place. And the 9 is going into the hundredths place. So we have 59 100ths. 59 100ths. There we go. Number 13. An orchestra has 100 musicians. 4/10 of them play string instruments: violin, viola, cello, double bass, guitar, lute, and harp. What decimal is equivalent to 4/10? All right. So it's kind of like the last one. We've got to match this fraction with the decimal. So we need to get the 4 into the tenths place. So 0 holes, decimal. This place value right after the decimal is the tenths place. So 4/10, 4/10. It's a match. That's why we don't say 0.4, guys. We have to say 4/10. Complete the table. All right, we've got a lot to think about here. It's time for a cover. All right, we've got dollar bills and coins, money amount, fraction or mixed number, decimal. Okay, so it looks like in this case, we're thinking about the money amount because that's what's missing, right? So 8 pennies, 8 hundredths of a 8 hundredths is our fraction, and then 8 hundredths as a decimal. Okay, so the money amount, all I have to do is take the decimal and put a dollar sign in front. Yay, that's easy. Okay, so here we go. Dollar sign 008. Okay, so 8 cents. Remember, this is the hundredths column right here. And it's only 8 out of 100 pennies. That's why the 8 is in the hundredths column. All right, next up. Ooh, I've got 2 blanks. 50 cents. Okay. So we could probably put 2 quarters right here, right? We could also put another option. We could put 2 dimes and 1 nickel. You know, there's lots of things you can do. Fraction or mixed number. Okay, let's do the money first. So I'm going to put 2 quarters. All right, fraction or mixed number. So we could write 50 100ths because we have 50 pennies. We could also do 5 dimes, right? So 5 out of 10 is also an option. You don't need to put both of them in there, but they're just giving you options. All right, let's see. 90 hundredths. 90 hundredths or 9/10. Okay, so the money amount is going to be the same as the decimal, remember? Easy peasy. Just throw a dollar sign in front of it. Here we go. 0 and 90 hundredths. Pronounced or said 90 cents. Okay, now bills and coins. What do you want to do for this one? We've got options, kids. We've got options. So we could do 2 quarters again. So that was 50 cents. And then plus 40 more cents. So we could do plus 4 dimes. Or how about this? Let's just go with 9 dimes. Hey, why not? Okay, you can actually see 9 dimes. 9 out of 10 dimes would make $1. Or 10 dimes makes $1. 9 dimes makes 90 cents. How about that? All right. 4 $1 bills and 5 pennies. Okay, so 4 $1 bills would be 4 holes. 4 holes and 5 pennies. Okay, pennies are worth 1/100th of a dollar, so we have to get it in the hundredths column, like that. The 5's in the hundredths column. Okay, so now we've got the fraction or mixed number to fill in. So we can do 4 holes. 4 holes, and then 5 100ths. 5 hundredths. Okay, so then this should match when you say this fraction. 4 and 5 100ths, 4 and 5 hundredths. Okay, on to the next. Ooh, a number line. You know I love my number lines. Okay, the point on the number line shows the number of seconds it took an athlete to run the 40-yard dash. Okay, So that would be right here. Write the decimal that correctly names this point. Okay. So the first thing we need to do before we even consider doing anything else is really just evaluate the number line. We have 5 at one end and 6 at another. The middle point is 5 and 5/10, and I can see that there are 10 tick lines. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 11 if you count this one, but this is really like would be the first hop, right? So I'm only counting that one as my starting point. Okay, so since there are 10 tick lines here, I know each one is going to be worth 1/10. So this one would be 5 and 1/10, 5 and 2/10, 5 and 3/10, 5 and 4/10, 5 and 5/10. So this one must be 5 and 6/10. All right, makes sense. And then I just want to make sure as I'm looking at my number line that the numbers are making sense as I'm evaluating. Yep. Okay, on to the next. Ingrid. All right, Ingrid's making a toy car. The toy car is 5/10 meter high without the roof. Okay. The roof is 1,800 meter high. What is the height of the toy car with the roof? Choose a number from each column to complete an equation to solve. Okay. So I have this stuff covered because it's too much right now. I just want to think about what's sitting in front of me. So I know that she's making a toy car. I know that her toy car itself is 5/10 meter high without the roof. The roof is 1,800 meter high. I also noticed that this one is broken into hundredths and this one is broken into tenths. So then that kind of helps me get started. Now I'm ready to look. Okay, because this sometimes just gets overwhelming for me. So 5/10 plus 1,800. Okay, so it looks like what they're wanting us to do is to find 5/10 as a equivalent fraction. So it looks like it wants it to break it into hundredths because it says 100, 100, 100. So what is 5/10 as 100 pieces? So you can imagine 5/10, and then you do your 10 by 10 or 10 by 10 array, right? So 5 times 10 would be 50, and 10 times 10 is 100. So we know that that's the same as 50/100. Okay, so now when I go over here, I see 50/100. So that is going to be the one I choose. Plus, and then this was already in hundredths, so I'm just going to choose 1,800. Okay, and now we need to solve. So 50/100 plus 1,800 is 68/100. Tenzo. 17. Callie shaded the model to represent the questions she answered correctly on a test. What decimal represents the part of the model that is shaded? All right. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 full columns. So this is 8 full columns. And then we have 1/100th more, right? So you might look at this as 8/10 or 80/100. So 80/100 would be here, plus the 1 little hundredth down below, or up top, I should say, plus the 1 little hundredth is 81/100. So let's see. What decimal? Okay, so I need to do the decimal, not the fraction, right? So 81/100 should look like this. So I have to get my 1 in the hundredths place. Number 18. For numbers 18a through 18f, select true or false for the inequality. All right, inequality just means greater than, less than, because in means not, and equality is like equal, so not equal. True. Greater than or less than. Okay, I kept wanting to say true or false. Okay, number 18. Here it goes. 21 hundredths is less than 27 hundredths. Okay, I'm pretty much thinking in money again. I'm going to choose green for money. So 21 cents is less than 27 cents, so I'm going to mark that as true. All right, B. 4/10 is greater than 45 hundredths. Okay, well, this would be like 4 dimes. This would be like 4 dimes and 5 pennies. So this one is not greater, it's less. False. All right, $3.21 is greater than 2/10, which is the same as 2 dimes, 20 cents. So that's true. This one is definitely greater by a lot, by $3.01 to be exact. Okay, 1 9/10 is less than 1 90 hundredths. Well, I smell them trying to do a trick question here, because maybe you're going to say, oh, that's true because this number's longer, but don't forget, we can just put a 0 there and think about it as 1 90 hundredths. And now all of a sudden I can see they're equal. So this should be an equal sign. So that makes this one false. Don't let them trick you. Number E, or letter E, I should say. Okay, 41 hundredths is the same as 14 hundredths. Well, 41 cents is not the same as 14 cents, so that one's definitely false. Okay, F, 6 2/10 is greater than 6 2 hundredths. Okay, so even though this number looks longer, we know this would be like $6.20 because it's in the dime section, right? In the tenth section. So that would be worth more than $6.02. So I'm going to go ahead and mark true. All right. Number 19, fill in the numbers to find the sum. All right. So of course, before we even start looking at this, I'm thinking that I have different denominators. So again, I'm thinking they're trying to pull one over my eyes here. So I'm thinking 4/10 plus something hundredths is equal to 8. All right, so I know I'm going to be adding something together. And I think I'm going to use a model to help myself. All right, so 4/10. Here I go. 1, 2, 3, 4/10. Okay, now plus hundredths is going to equal 8. All right, I don't know the answer, but what I do know is if I put 4 more columns here, 1, 2, 3, 4. If I did that and then I put them together, or like put them together into one model, I would have 8/10 filled in, right? So that actually really helps me a lot, because I'm thinking 4/10, like this one, plus now I've gotten 40 hundredths over here. So I think I'm going to write 40 right here is equal to 8. Remember, I moved this one over here. That, not that, this. 8/10, right? So when I put them together, I was thinking in tenths. So I'm going to go ahead and write tenths in this box. 8/10. All right, models always help. Don't forget. Make sure you draw them out or use them. Number 20, Steve is measuring the growth of a tree. He drew this model to show the tree's growth in meters. Which fraction, mixed number, or decimal does the model show? Mark all that apply. All right, we've got mark all that apply. So we know we are going to have more than one answer here. It's just going to happen. So before we even look at our options, let's just look at our model. I see one hole shaded in, and I see 2 full columns here, and then 8 hundredths right there. So 28 hundredths would be here. I'm just going to mark that in. Why not? Actually, I'll type it in. Why not? So this one's a hole, 1 with a decimal and a 0. And then this one is just 28 hundredths. All right, so I'm just starting to think about what I have, right? Okay, now I'm going to look. 1 and 28 hundredths. Well, boom, we know for sure that's true because that's what it says, right? 1 and 28 hundredths. 12 and 8 tenths. We definitely don't have 12 holes here. But I think they're trying to throw people off because there would be 12 tenths and then 8 hundredths, but no, we're not going to fall for that. Okay, 28 hundredths. Well, that's only this one, so that one's out. So B's out, C's out. D, 2 holes and 8 tenths. Do you see 2 holes shaded? I don't. Okay, 1 and 28 hundredths. Well, when we said this decimal, we said it as 1 and 28 hundredths. So that's definitely a match. Okay, and 1 and 28 tenths. Well, I know that that's not going to be true because I know this is broken into 1 and 28 hundredths. So A and E are going to be our answers. Number 21. All right. Luke lives 4/10 kilometer from a skating rink. Mark lives 25 hundredths kilometer from the skating rink. Part A. Who lives closer to the skating rink? Explain. Okay, so we're being asked to compare fractions. Or I shall call these decimal fractions. All right, so Luke is 4/10 of a mile, and Mark is 25 hundredths of a mile. And we want to know who lives closer. So we're looking for the decimal that's worth less because less means less distance to travel. All right, so if you think in money all the time like I do, maybe you're thinking about this as 40 cents, this is 25 cents, and then you can just turn it back to kilometers. So, I'm thinking that Mark has to live closer because 25 hundredths is less than 40 hundredths. So, oops, I almost drew that in the backwards way. So I know that Mark lives closer. There's less different distance to travel. So Mark lives closer. There is less distance for him to travel. All right. Number 22. No, I had a part A. There's got to be a part B. Part B, how can you write each distance as a fraction? Explain. Okay, so Luke was 4/10, Mark was 25 hundredths. So this was Luke, and this one was Mark. I'm just putting it here so we can remember, right? So I know that we can say 4/10, and we'll get the fraction 4/10. And we can also say 25 hundredths. So when we say that, we'll get 25 hundredths, 25 out of 100. We can also say 1/4 if you just have that memorized. That would also be correct. As you can think in quarters, 1/4 out of $1 is the same as 25 cents out of 100 cents. Okay, how can you write each distance as a fraction? Okay, so we did that, and then we have to explain. Okay, so maybe we would just explain it by saying the 4/10 is the same as It's kind of hard because you say them the same. 4/10 is the same as 4/10. 25/100 is the same as 25/100. Okay, so I think that's what I'm going to write. 4/10 is the same as 4/10, and 25/100 is the same as 25/100. Okay, let's see if there's part C. Yep. Okay. Luke is walking to the skating rink to pick up a practice schedule. Then he's walking to Mark's house. Will he walk more than a kilometer or less than a kilometer? Explain. All right. So Luke's walking to the skating rink, and we know Luke lives 4/10 of a mile to the skating rink. And then Mark lives 25/100. So if we put those distances together, will he walk more than a kilometer or less than a kilometer? Okay, so I think I'm going to do 40/100 because that's equivalent to 4/10, and I'm going to add it plus 25/100. Again, my brain is going to use money to help me, even though I'm working in distance. I know 40 cents plus 25 cents, and that's just easier for me. So if that doesn't work for you, don't do it, but I think about that. So 40 cents plus 25 cents is 65 cents. So I know that in kilometers, it's going to be 65/100. Okay, now I know that 65/100 is less than one whole. So it's going to be less than 1 kilometer. I think I'm going to move that on up there. Okay, so he will walk less than 1 kilometer because 65/100 is not yet 1 whole. All right. That makes sense? I think it does. We have reached the end. We are all done with this review. Make sure as you are thinking about your math that you're modeling with mathematics. You're thinking about what it looks like as tenths and hundredths, and also that you're saying the decimals correctly, not 0.3, but 3/10 or 30/100. Make sure you're doing all those things. It will help you in your journey as a mathematician. All right, kids, I'll see you next time. Bye.